In Spain, there is a region that does not want to be part of Spain at all. In surveys, a large portion of the population regularly supports independence, and since 1979, separatists have almost continuously governed in the form of a nationalist party whose goal is complete independence from Spain. But anyone thinking of Catalonia would be mistaken. We're talking about the Basque Country, a region that developed very differently from the rest of Spain and where the extraordinary Basque language is still spoken, considered the oldest language in Europe, and entirely isolated from all other European language families. The Basques have fought for centuries for more autonomy from Madrid, and until just a few years ago, this protest was often violent. Time and again, the underground organization ETA kept Spain on edge with terrorist attacks. It's high time we take a closer look at this region. Why do the Basques still not see themselves as Spaniards? How does the regional government push for secession? And what are the chances of actual independence? All these fascinating questions are explored in today's video. Enjoy! Let's first examine exactly which region we are talking about. On one hand, there is the autonomous Basque Country in Spain, which can be compared to a German federal state. However, when the Basques refer to their homeland, they mean a much larger historical region. Specifically, it encompasses three areas: the two Spanish provinces of the Basque Country and Navarre, as well as part of France known as the French Basque Country. These regions have always been closely connected by the Basque language and culture. The German explorer Alexander von Humboldt wrote centuries ago, "Even in more recent times, divided into very unequal parts, and subordinated to two great and powerful nations, the Basques have by no means abandoned their independence." But the history of the Basque Country goes back much further. It begins in antiquity, with the origins of the unique cultural and linguistic identity tracing back to pre-Roman times. Where the Basques originally came from remains a mystery to this day. Some theories suggest they came from the far north, while other historians argue for an origin in North Africa or Asia. What is certain, however, is that the Basque language is unrelated to any other Indo-European language and is likely the oldest of its kind. The first written records come from Roman authors like Sallust and Pliny the Elder. But, thanks to the isolation of northern Spain, protected by the Pyrenees and the Cantabrian Mountains, the Basques were largely excluded from Roman expansion. As a result, the Romanization of the region was minimal. This isolation and resistance to foreign invaders are recurring themes in Basque history. Time and again, the Basques resisted expansionist powers such as the Visigoths and the Muslim Moors. Even the Christianization of the region occurred very slowly. In the early 11th century, the entire Basque country was united for the first and only time in history. Sancho the Great, who called himself the King of all Basques, ruled over both the Spanish and French regions of the Basque country. Over time, through dynastic marriages, treaties, and military conquests, Basque territories were gradually integrated into the emerging nations of Spain and France, although they retained a certain degree of autonomy. The Basques are often referred to as the Vikings of Spain, as they adopted much from them. They, too, became skilled seafarers with advanced ships. They ventured as far as Iceland and Norway to fish and hunt whales. Whaling on the high seas, far from Spain, had the added advantage of avoiding taxes imposed by governments and churches. Their expertise in shipbuilding made the Basques highly sought after in Europe. During the 15th and 16th centuries, numerous shipyards were established along the Basque coast. The region had both the ports and the resources necessary for shipbuilding, including iron deposits and oak forests. As a result, a significant portion of the European ships that explored Africa, America, and Asia were built by the Basques. They were not only responsible for construction, but also often served as navigators. Christopher Columbus appreciated Basque shipbuilding expertise, which is why many of his ships came from the Basque Country, and several Basque captains and sailors accompanied his voyages. Let's jump to the modern era. During the Industrial Revolution, the Basque Country underwent significant changes. In addition to shipbuilding, the region became an industrial hub focused on iron and steel production as well as mechanical engineering. Urbanization and industrialization brought prosperity but also attracted migrants, altering the demographic composition and creating social tensions. The rise of a Basque industrial elite and working class eventually led to the emergence of new political ideas and movements, including Basque nationalism. This nationalism arose primarily as a response to the growing Spanish nationalism. Spain's colonial empire had collapsed, and the central government in Madrid attempted to strengthen its grip on the remaining regions. This included imposing a uniform administrative and legal structure, which significantly restricted Basque self-governance. As a result, the Basque Nationalist Party was founded in the late 19th century, marking the beginning of organized nationalist movements. This party continues to govern the Basque Country today. The 20th century, however, brought difficult times, particularly during the Spanish Civil War in the 1930s. Basque capital Bilbao was besieged by Franco's forces and eventually captured in 1937. Cities like Guernica were bombed by the German Luftwaffe at the behest of Franco's nationalists. Under Franco, Basque autonomy disappeared entirely. He banned the Basque language and suppressed Basque traditions to promote a homogenized Spanish identity. The autonomy the region had enjoyed before the Civil War was abolished, and Madrid imposed strict control over the area. This period of repression fueled the Basque desire for autonomy and independence, leading to the formation and radicalization of separatist groups like ETA. Their goal was an independent Basque republic, and the French Basque Country often served as a retreat for them. After Franco's death in 1975, Spain began its transition to democracy, and the Basque Country regained greater autonomy. But the desire for independence was now unstoppable. In the 1990s, the conflict between ETA and the Spanish government escalated further as young left-wing activists began their street fight. Through arson attacks on public transport and ATMs, as well as assassinations, they aimed to support ETA's goals. The armed struggle finally ended in 2011 when the Basque Country was granted even more autonomy, and the Basques decided to pursue independence peacefully through political means. However, a referendum on independence, like the one held in Catalonia, has so far been denied to the Basques. The future of the Basque independence movement is closely tied to Catalonia. Many hope for a domino effect if Catalonia achieves independence, but the Spanish government is determined to prevent this at all costs. Even though surveys frequently show significant support for independence, it's unclear how many would actually vote in favor in a real referendum. On the other hand, the Basque Country benefits from its extensive autonomy, and many fear the economic consequences of independence. The Basque Country remains an incredibly fascinating region, offering a unique perspective on Spain with its own culture and traditions. Basque flags are prominently displayed everywhere, often alongside small Spanish flags. The Basque language has also experienced a revival. Once on the brink of extinction, the regional government now strongly promotes its teaching. Most young Basques today speak the language, as schools teach many subjects in Basque. All signs, public institutions, and names are bilingual, with Basque written first. The Basque capital, Bilbao, has undergone a remarkable transformation, evolving from a dirty industrial city into a cultural hub of Europe and a modern metropolis. The city's success has coined the term Bilbao effect, now used to describe similar attempts at urban renewal worldwide.